Today, I'm excited to introduce a new series that we're doing, our Office Journey mini-series. I'm your host, Chaden Young, and we have a special guest, Dr. Adam Frounfelter. Dr. Frounfelter, how are you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm wonderful, Chaden. Thanks for having me, man. Great to see you. Very nice
Yeah,
to see you.
you've been working with us for a while now. How long have you been working with Dental Implant Machine?
So we're going on. It's just over 2 years now.
Okay, awesome. All right, so what I want to do is I want to get to know you and where you grew up, where you came from, your journey to becoming a dentist, and then I'm going to ask questions along the way. But I know that you're practicing in Indiana now. But where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in northern Indiana. I was actually born my dad's last year of dental school. So dad's a dentist. I have two other brothers that are dentists too, and then my sister is a nurse practitioner. She was the only one that decided to get away from it. We grew up in northern Indiana. Loved living up there. We got some snow. Had all the seasons. It was beautiful. But with dad being a dentist and my mom then running the office, I mean, we were constantly in there with them, constantly. Our town's about 6,000 people or so. And what I learned was how the people just loved dad. And most of them were patients. And then how my dad just loved his patients. You know, we would go to church on Sundays. Dr. DJ, how you doing? Thanks for taking care of my son, daughter. We go to the grocery. Dr. DJ, it's great to see you. I get to see you next week. You go out to eat, and you just see how these people cared for my dad and just how my dad gave back to them and to our little community that it's a community of farmers, hardworking people that deserve great dentistry, and that's what dad was able to provide and just the care that he had. So as I grew up, I always thought, man, I want to be like my dad. That's what I want to be like. He's a great person. He's a great dentist. And it's always in the back of your mind, you know, am I going to be able to do this? I love playing sports. Am I going to be able to do these things and get to where I want to be? So got into college and had to really buckle down because I would say I wasn't the smartest in terms, it doesn't just come easy to me. My older brother, my younger brother comes very easy to them. So I had to really buckle down to work. And then undergrad, I met my now wife, who's also a dentist, Dr. Allison Frounfelter, and then we went through dental school together.
That's awesome. Where'd you get your undergrad from, and then where did you go to dental school?
So went to DePaul University, Greencastle, Indiana, very small school. It's a great school. My initial thought was to go there and play football. Again, I loved athletics, but I think you learn very quickly that even if it's a Division III school, it's still a lot of time, and became a more of a student than an athlete. So that's what we did, and went to dental school at Indiana University School of Dentistry. Again, that's where my dad went, my brother, both my brothers, my wife. So it's just kind of it's ingrained within me the love of patients, the love of people, and the love of dentistry in our profession. I think what my dad taught me was dentistry is the best profession in the world. You do have a lot on your shoulders of taking care of patients, but doing it the right way and doing it the way that you love to do it. And so when I finally got through dental school, I was ready to go.
Awesome. With your dad being a dentist and you seeing just how your community, how your town interacted with him, would you say that was the biggest driver for you to want to aspire to become a dentist, really to be like somebody that people could know that they can trust, that they can look to if they're in pain or whatever's going on?
I would say it was, 99% of it. Like my dad, if you met him, Chaden, you would immediately love the man. He will make you feel like the most important person. At that time, at that moment, he just loves to talk to people and cares for people and loves their story. So I think what I saw was just my dad was able to give to these people something that they needed. Obviously, dental work is, the oral cavity is the entrance to your overall health. So he was able to give in a very small community. He was able to give like the best care. And I saw how much he loved it. And he's still practicing. He just loves it. He could retire but he just loves taking care of these patients. And for me, that's what I want to be able to do. Is I want to go out on my own terms. Not I want to be able to go out when I say I just can't do it anymore. He's going to do it until he can literally not care for them anymore. And that's what got me there, Chaden. So yeah, the answer is, when you see someone love what they do, and you hear the saying, you never work a day if you love what you do as work, you never actually will. You love it. So to see him do that, and to see my mom and him together build this practice as we were growing up, it was pretty neat. And that's why I went this way.
That's awesome. I resonate with that a lot. Knowing that you have somebody that just that genuine connection, that genuine trust that he was able to build, and then loving what you do. You'll never work a day in your life, right? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Finish dental school, moving in, getting your first practice, or becoming an associate. Tell me what your journey was like coming out of dental school to you're owning your first practice.
So I graduated a year before my wife. So I went out. She was finishing up dental school, and we actually went in with her dad. Her dad's a dentist, and her brother's a dentist. My sister-in-law's a dentist. So again, family connection. We love it. Went down to Southwest Indiana, Evansville, Indiana. It's basically right on the border of Indiana and Kentucky in Southwest Indiana. And went down there and worked with him. We were associates. She again came down the year after me, and we're working together. And there's two other dentists. Her dad, Dr. Richard Mall, and then another dentist, Dr. Wilbur Manchett. A little story about Dr. Manchett. At one point, the oldest practicing dentist in the United States. He retired when he was 97.
Wow. That's quite the accomplishment right there.
I don't think I'll be able to practice that long myself, but so Dr. Manchett her dad bought it from Dr. Manchett. We practiced with them for 6 years, and then we bought the practice. So we bought the practice about 9 years ago. From then on, it was just, let's make this our own. They've built a great legacy and a great practice, but there's different ways we want to do things and build it, but it's got to be built on taking care of patients, and so that's where we started.
When you purchased the practice, obviously you said you'd been working there for a while. Was your initial vision to make all these big changes? What was that initial vision when you're like, okay, he's ready to sell it to you guys? What was your vision and your wife's vision with the practice, and what you guys wanted to accomplish from him to you all? Because I think a lot of offices, a lot of dentists have either gone through that or are associates and are looking for that, or even have been through that themselves. And so I'm interested to hear just your approach on it.
The practice that Rick, her dad, had built was basically like my dad's practice, except because my dad was in such a small community, he had to be a one-stop shop. The closest oral surgeon is 45 minutes to an hour for my dad. The closest endodontist is an hour and a half. So Dad had to do everything. Whereas in Evansville, it's the third biggest city in Indiana. So you have all those specialists right there. So basically, he was doing bread and butter dentistry, fillings, crowns, obviously his hygiene program. But he wasn't doing more of the specialty side in terms of he wasn't doing any oral surgery. He wasn't extracting teeth. He has some great oral surgeons to send to. He wasn't doing any endo, no ortho, et cetera, et cetera. So our goal was to try to make this at some point, to try to make it more of the one-stop shop, more of, I love the surgery side of things, she loves the cosmetic side of things, and really just trying to keep all of those patients and let them know, hey, we can do all this here in the office. The issue is we just got going, and there's nothing wrong with this, because I think it is such a good profession and a good way of doing it. And at that point, I thought that's the only way it was done. What happened was we got so busy, Chaden. Each of us are running 2 rooms and seeing an emergency column. So between us, we are just so busy, and we're checking all of our hygiene. 2 years after we bought it, we built a new practice. So we have this new practice. It has 12 ops. It's beautiful. Everything's wonderful. But the problem that we started to find was we had gotten so big that we were running crazy. I mean, again, it's a great thing because we're being very successful. And the terms, to me, in my mind, I watched my dad. He never had an associate. So my mind says, if there's someone in the seat, then I know I'm doing a great thing because we're helping them some way, somehow. But man, we were on roller skates all day, every day. We were working Saturdays at one point. We finally got rid of that. We went to Monday to Friday, and we kind of rotated because then at that same time we had two children and another one on the way, and we're busy at home, we're busy at work. So the way we started, and I think we'll probably talk about this later with some of the things I would change, but the way we started was almost what I would say is like the 1980s, 1990s mentality of dentistry of run, always have someone in the seats, run as much hygiene as you can, just sprint all day long, finish the day, go home and try to survive with your kids. And, we just couldn't, we were just wore out. We were just wore out from that.
Yeah, it sounds like your business was running you, not you running the business, right?
100%. And that's what I feel very lucky. People will be like, how can you work with your wife? I'm like, how could I not work with my wife? It's been such a great experience. Allie, I hope you can meet her. She is a phenomenal dentist, far better than anyone I've ever got to be around in terms of the cosmetic side. And she just is so good, but we get to do this battle together where, there's days where I look at her and I was like, I don't have 10% left in me. You got to help me today. And she's like, I got you. So we got to fight that together. And I think in a way, we'll be married in December 17 years now. And I think in a way it had built our outside relationship because of the battle with inside.
That makes a lot of sense. And also congrats, 17 years. That's not a short number in by today's standards, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty lucky, pretty darn lucky. But yeah, we wanted that work-life balance. And like you said, it was the business running us, not us running the business. And it was just eating us up, Chayden. It was just, really, really eating us up.
Was there a single event when you realized, okay, we need to make a change, or we need to make an adjustment? What was that? How did it culminate?
So what happened was Dr. Manchette retired, and then her dad also retired. So we then brought in an associate. So it's us three, and we're running this extremely busy practice, very, very profitable, great practice, doing great dentistry. I tore my rotator cuff, and
oh, wow.
And so I had to,
playing football.
Yeah. It was a bad day, Jaden. Really bad day. My wife was not pleased. So I had to have surgery, and I'm sitting there, and I would go in probably a week after I had the surgery. I would go into the office and I started running the books and trying to get a little bit more of a grasp because honestly, we were so busy. I didn't have a good grasp on like the numbers side of the business. I just knew that we were extremely busy. Thus, we had to be successful, right? And so we started looking at the numbers, and what I also saw was Dr. DJ Grasso was our first associate, still with us, so wonderful. He's a wonderful dentist. And then Allie, what I'm seeing as I'm not working, as I am able to kind of walk around, I am seeing them just absolutely just every day there was no break for them. From my standpoint, I was there to take care of people too, but I couldn't. So I'm sitting from an outsider's point at that point, looking at Allie and seeing both from a dentist and a husband side, and then a father side too. I'm seeing her so tired. As a mom, she's such a phenomenal mom at home. And so we would go home, and of course I hadn't worked. I was just back in the back doing stuff on the number side, and I'd see how tired she was, and I'd see how tired Dr. DJ was, and I was getting torn up thinking, they're telling me I can't do this for at least 2 more months. I cannot do anything. She went then, in that same time, she's a CE junkie, so she went and did a sleep course, a sleep dentistry course with 3D Dentist and Dr. Tarun Agarwal, T-Bone. She came back from that course energized like I hadn't seen her. And she's like, I went to this course. I really want to put sleep into our practice. I just don't think this is the time because of how busy we are. but I signed us up for this masterminds. And I will admit to you, I am not the biggest CE guy. I like my CE and that's it. I don't want to branch out. So when she said we're going to this course, you have no choice, I was like, not going. You can do this by yourself. I'm out on that. Of course, what she says is basically what I do. So we went. And what changed within that first 2 hours, what changed is my mind and my heart on the dental side of things. Again, what you said was the practice was running us, the business was running us. And what I started to think was, as I kind of went back, they have you do an exercise where you kind of look back and see things you'd like to change and, some feelings that you had. And it's an emotional time because I'm going back thinking I was going home wore out. My kids, I love to coach their teams, their basketball. 3 of them play basketball. I love to coach their basketball teams. And I just didn't know if they were even getting the best of me because I was going home so beat. So, Chaden, I'm sitting there. I remember tears because I'm like, I'm letting my family down too. We have this great practice. And right now I feel like I'm letting Allie down as a dentist and a husband. I feel like I'm letting, Dr. DJ down as a dentist. He has to shoulder more, my whole team. And then I'm like, outside of that, what have I been doing the last 7 or 8 years? What are my 3 daughters seeing? This change just kind of went through me, re-energized me. And I made a promise to myself, to Allie, and to T-Bone and Dr. Sully Sullivan that do the 3D masterminds. I made a promise that I'm going to change the way I do things. I'm going to care for people like I've always cared for them 100% every day, but I got to give them my best too, so I can give my home the best. And so we made a change in the way we started doing things. That was the day. January of 2022 was the day it all changed.
So you went to the course. It almost sounds like you had, you were, the best way that I could say this is really from like a business standpoint, you kind of hit a rock bottom from a business standpoint where it's just going crazy. You're feeling the burden of the home life. You're feeling the burden of the practice, of the people that you're responsible for as the owner. And I think a lot of business owners, a lot of doctors feel that same burden that you felt at that time. And then you had this almost spiritual, and I don't want to call it a spiritual enlightenment. I don't want to get too far down that path, but really this just enlightenment of like, okay, I need to make a change. I need to do something. So you decide to make that change. And I know shortly thereafter in April, we partnered together. So I'm making this change. I want to move forward and do something on the implant side. In those 4 months, what did that look like? How did you go from, okay, we're going to do this? A lot of people make commitments, right? A lot of people say, I want to do something. It's getting to the next step that can be difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note here, the thing that I did and that Allie did and that we did together was to bet on ourselves. The reason I'm willing to bet on myself is if I want these things, if I want to be able to have more time for the kids, if I want to be able to be, doing the same type of revenue, but working more strict hours, how do I get there? So I'm betting on myself that the thing that I loved to do the most, I mentioned it earlier, I love the surgery side of things. And I had started placing implants in, I think I placed my first implant in 2019 was the first implant I placed. And kind of a slow roll from there. A lot of singles, but nothing crazy because again, Jaden, I was doing all the other bread and butter stuff. So working then to 2022, I knew that I had this skill set. I had placed hundreds of implants at that point, hundreds of them. All singles, maybe onesie twosies, some implant bridges, so on and so forth. As I talked to Sully and to T-Bone, and they asked me, what do you want? We want to help you do what you want, and we want to help you get there. And I truly believe the way they looked at me and the way they spoke to me, I'm like, if there's somebody out there that's going to bet on me, these guys will bet on me too. That day in January, I made the goal of I want to start a full arch practice. I want to start this full arch practice. And we sat down with them, Allie, myself, T-Bone, Sully sat down and kind of went through the steps, went through all these exercises of how can we get there. And their biggest thing is there's going to be some struggles. You've got to understand there's going to be some hardships to get to this point, but here's how we're going to do it. And if you stick to this, we can get you there. But it's up to you to believe and to believe in yourself and your practice and obviously in your wife and Allie. Part of that was teaming with, I had never done any sort of had I done advertising at all. I'd never done any sort of marketing, nothing. The biggest marketing or advertising I had was word of mouth or in our church pamphlets. That was it. Or maybe sponsoring some football teams. That was really it.
Yeah, a little banner or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so we went through and looked, and I met with several companies, and just to talk about dental implant machine, I talked with several other companies. They wanted me to go through an exercise that they will stress to you it's very important to talk to these other companies and kind of look at the pros and cons, because if you go through the exercise, the chances are when you compare them, you'll make the right decision. Not just, oh, there's who I'm going to use, yep, I got them out. So we went and talked with some other companies, and, not to name any, but some of them were, Allie and I feel very, very much the culture of things, the culture of our practice, the culture of the people we're around is very important to us. And what I felt with dental implant machine, DIM, there was just a different culture. I never felt pushed to like a salesy push. I never felt, it just felt more genuine. And it was, as I've learned now over the last 2 years, it is genuine. And the people that I've got to work with, Summer, Kevin, you, that's what I'm looking for, is this genuine, they want me to be great too, just as I want to be great, just as the people that believe in me want me to be great. And that's what they wanted. So that was quick for me to understand the culture's different from others. And any general dentist out there that is trying to make this jump, and I will say, I think any general dentist that has done implants and has went to the courses to build their skill set, they can do this. But what they've got to do is they've got to team with the right people, put the right people around them, and do that. So we were lucky enough to team with DIM, and our coach Summer was just absolutely wonderful. From then, actually the biggest problem we had, Chaden, in all honesty, and T-Bone and Sully think this is so funny, I had to stop the marketing. I don't know if you know this, but I actually had to stop it because I was getting too many leads. People are going to be like, this is baloney. That we had to stop the marketing. I had to turn it off because I had too many leads. My full arch consultant, Chloe, started closing cases. I had nowhere to put them. So she's closing these cases, and I'm calling T-Bone and Sully. I'm like, I had to shut off the marketing. It's too much. They had too many leads, too many cases closed, and both of them were like, we love you, but you're an idiot. You got to turn it up more. So I had to slow it down because what we saw, and I want to talk to you about these things of the kind of the problems that I found. But what I saw was there was so much coming in, so much need in our area. I think that there's a couple other dentists, surgeons, periodontists that do it, but once they came in, I felt like once they came into our office and they saw our culture and our people, they would stick with me and they would get it done. And we were running out of space. I'm calling my mentors, now my best friends. I'm like, I just turned it off. I don't know what else to do. And they're both laughing. They're like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? So yeah, so I had to turn it off for a few months. Big mistake.
I love that you had that problem. I'll call it a problem, right? It's a good problem to have. What did you do? What did you need to adjust your workflow? You're having so much success that you need to actually stop it. What did you decide to do?
So honestly, what we had to do, so I'll go through some of the issues, like my issues to begin with, and any general dentist that goes through this process, what I want them to know is, again, anyone, you can do this. But what you've got to make sure of is you've got to have available time, both time to see the leads for your consults and time for someone to take these calls and set up the consults, and then you've got to have time for a place to put them and do the surgeries. What I found in my schedule was I was doing so much of still the bread and butter. Again, we're running hard. At that point, we had kind of backed down. We had decided we're going to a one doctor, one column rule. No longer two columns plus a emergency column. Everyone at our practice was dropping down to a one doctor, one column, trying to do a better job of letting the patient know how much we cared for them, not rushing, get the work done, which was great work, but then run to the next room. We're one doctor, one column, really take care of them. And I was booked out 8 months, and we're completely full, which, man, it's wonderful. That's a great problem to have. But when you're trying to transition and what you really love is surgery, you have no place to put people. So what we then did was we hired another associate. We started taking things off of my menu and putting it onto her menu. She's not at the office anymore. Great associate. She had to find her own way, which is great. I wish the best for her, but she came in and she was booked full, and she took over some of that then that I was doing. So I then had the time. I had the availability to do these things. And in the beginning, what I saw was I could fill those so quickly because we had already closed all these cases. As we moved people off of the schedule, I would get these big surgery blocks where I could put people in. So I started putting all these surgery blocks where nothing could go in there. This was my full arch block. You can't put anything in there. The front desk is like, patients are calling, they want to see you. This is what we got to talk about. So we had to go through some verbiage to do that. We got the time then available to do these things. The next problem that I had was I didn't have a fully dedicated team. In essence, what I was doing, and I never even thought of it this way until we went through it, is I was starting a whole new quote unquote specialty full arch practice. And I needed my own team that was dedicated to that, not running all over the office trying to do other things, because these surgeries are involved. And when you're in there, you got to be on that. You can't be going over to Phil, going to hygiene to check. Like, you've got to be in that room. So then what we did was I hired a girl that was going to take all the calls. Her name's Katie. We had Chloe then that was going to do all of the consults. She's our full arch consultant. She did all the consults, took records, closed cases. And then I had my two surgical assistants, Leah and then Abigail. We basically became our own practice within a practice. And I wish that was another thing we didn't do, was we just didn't have the dedicated team members. And once we turned that marketing back on, we saw, because I hadn't hired anyone to take calls yet, it was Chloe taking calls, following up on leads, getting consults booked, then trying to close. What we saw was things started to slide through the cracks. The marketing was working, but we were slowing it down. So as we looked through these numbers, I'm like, well, you can obviously see where the bottleneck is. It's the leads and the consults are getting slowed down because we don't have enough time to do everything. So then we hired someone to take those calls. And that really, we went and took a full arch course. It's called Scale Your Full Arch with 3D. And it's more towards, I already had the skill set and everything, but it was more towards the team seeing like the big picture. And I will say after that, Shaden, like, it just blew up. We did, I believe, 11 arches in 22, and then 93 arches in 23. And we're then on pace to beat that in 24.
It's a very interesting journey, right? Because you were at a point where if you wanted to stay at that lower number, you probably could have maintained that with the team and the structure that you had. But if you wanted to really grow and scale this to where you wanted it to be, you had to make a decision. I need to dedicate the right people, and I need to make sure that the practice is set up in a manner to handle everything, because it is very, very different from, I mean, you mentioned it, the patient is a very, very different patient than what you're used to seeing, right? When you went to that course, what was the thing that caught the rest of the team's vision or their buy-in? It sounds like the buy-in to what you were trying to accomplish. What do you feel like the thing was that they're like, this is it. This is transformational dentistry, right?
I think that what they saw, they heard they heard the verbiage side of it. That 3D and T-Bone and Sully do a really good job of preparing you for the conversations. And they heard like all the verbiage side of it of dentists and assistants and full arch consultants that had done all these things. And they heard that, and it helped them then to see, okay, this is how these conversations are going to go. The surgery side, in all honesty, like the surgery side of it is the easiest side. Once we get them in there, that's our element, and that's the easiest side. But it's the follow-ups, talking to them, it's the consults before talking to them, all those things. So I think it gave them, and the other thing too, the other thing was they saw the digital side of it. We had a photogrammetry that we weren't using just because we honestly were so busy. We were so busy with it that we couldn't jump into doing all the digital. So it was still all analog stuff, and it took more time. It took more appointments for the patients and the assistants doing things. So when we got back from that, you throw in the digital side and the vertical integration, we had everything that we needed. So they saw all that. They heard the verbiage. And when we got back, this was basically my team saying, hey, let's go. Let's start rolling. So they kind of pushed me. That's what got us going.
So after that course, did you decide to switch from doing analog to a digital workflow?
Yep. Went to all digital. So we do all digital now, and we've done the vertical integration now where we're doing all of our own milling too of the full zirconia. So we do everything now at the office, and it helps us to have more control of the time. We partner with a lab. I don't know if I'm allowed to name the lab, but we partner with a lab that is very good about helping us in our growth. We've just been very lucky now because we can give a product that is an amazing product in a more timely manner, and also we can help with the cost because of that. So it's been great for us. The patients are getting more at a better price in essence because we can control it.
When you went from the analog, I just want to ask, how many times or how many visits did a patient need from when you were doing analog to where you're at now? What was the difference from just like time in the practice, which is ultimately unavailability that you have to see new patients or do other things?
I would say, so right now, if we do it correct, I don't like to close a case. I want the patient to feel very comfortable. I never want them to feel pushed. So I don't like to close a case if they come in, for their first consult. I like them to still come back. Obviously, if they really are like, I really want to, fine. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We'll take great care of you. So now it's a consult, a records appointment if they want to move forward, surgery. The next day we deliver the teeth. Then in 4 months, we'll deliver the permanents. In between there may be some issues because we do all of our own printing. So we print the temps. In between there may be some issues, but we will convert them at that 3 to 4 month period and put them in a final from there. Before we added them up, I can't remember how many appointments we used to have, 14 or something crazy. And oftentimes you'd have to work with a local lab to do this analog. And there's nothing wrong with local labs. A lot of people, we have several great local labs, but they don't have the technology now that is really needed. It was, this process seemed like it was, we talk about work smarter, not harder. Well, we were working so hard and there were all these other options out there to do. And we just you don't get into it because you get so busy. And you don't make that change.
And it all goes back to what you said, which is when you're working in the business, not on the business, you don't really take the time to think about some of those other things that can happen. And it's great that you have a partner like 3D that's been able to say, look at this, or hey, you're an idiot. Don't stop doing this. It's working really well. You need to continue to go, right? Obviously you're crushing it now. You're doing really well. With us, you've obviously accomplished and hit the 2 Comma Club. And looking back at the whole journey, where do you feel like if you were to advise a new doctor that's just coming into this and they're wanting to grow and scale their practice, what do you feel like, and we've hit on a bunch of things, and so I don't want to take anything away from what you've said, but what would you say is like, okay, if I could impart just a little bit of wisdom on these particular points, it would make it so much easier for a doctor or an office to have success.
I think one, bet on yourself is where you got to begin. Bet on yourself that you can do it. I think what we run into as dentists is we over dentist things. We start thinking about things, and it's our mind starts twisting it this way or that instead of just saying, all right, here's the deal. I want to do full arch. How am I going to get there? Let's go. And so I think what you've got to do is make sure your skill set is there. Most of the dentists that have been placing implants, what that entails is just taking a course. I'll plug the 3D does a live patient full arch course. I'll plug that. There's all sorts of great courses out there though. But once you do that course and you've done implants for so long, that skill set's ready to go. From there, it's a matter of making sure that you have, like we talked about, the dedicated time to do whatever it may be. Maybe it's just onesie twosies implants. Maybe that's what you love. Well, you got to have the time to do it. You got to have the availability to do that. Or if it's full arch, you got to have those big surgery blocks that no one can put your front desk when patients are like, I want to see Dr. Adam. They can't just slam people in there because it's got to be. And you've got to know that, hey, it may be, now I've seen some of those blocks as you come towards the end of the year, you see some of these full arch cases slow down just because there's a lot going on, all these things. So, but you've got to stick to leaving those blocks there. You can't just ram people in because what happens if you get one that you can close pretty quick? So have the availability, have the time. I think the dedicated team, you need to start preparing for that. You're basically opening your own practice. So you got to have someone to take calls, to do consults. Now for us, it started out that was the same person, but it got to the point where we were seeing so much it couldn't be. So you have to then have the dedicated team to each of those calls and the consults, and then your assistants too. From there, you've got to make the choice of how much technology do you have in your practice to begin with. And for us, we always want to be on the cutting edge. So we try to invest in everything that I knew we would need down the road. And it was me that slowed that down, Chayden. It was me that we had every tool to jump full digital, full vertical integration. It's sitting in our lab. But I was so busy, I thought trying to change that was bad. So you've got to be able to know that we've got to change some things. We've got to slow down to speed up. And you got to have that team that pushed you. I give all the credit to Allie and to our team. Like they were the ones behind me saying, go, you can do this. You can do as much as you want. I know you can. And so you just got to have that belief there.
I love that you have a supporting spouse that's right there fighting that battle with you. On the team, do you feel like there are key? I mean, you've had a few, with how long you've been doing this, you've seen a few team members, right? And this is super common. There's turnover. Obviously, you want to try and keep the best team members you can. But in the team members that have been the most successful for you, what do you feel like are like the key characteristics or attributes that they possess that has separated from those that maybe weren't as successful for you?
I just think that it is the belief and the all-in mentality. They're all in on what you believe and what you want to do, and they believe in your skills and their skills and the practice, the culture. Again, if you asked the three that I have with me now, Leah, Abigail, and Chloe, if you asked them, they would be all in. They would tell you exactly what I've said of where we made mistakes, but now where we are. They would push. They would say, we are the practice that should do this for you. This is the place you should be. The people love you, and we will take care of you. We've lost then the girl that took our calls, and we've switched to the call center that you all have. And the call center has been great because it's someone that is able to push in with all of the aspects that we gave them, the things that we told them are important, all these things. They're able then to kind of signal, hey, here's these several patients that they seem like they're ready to go, and they push them in. So Chloe's right there ready to go from that. That is what I would say is an all-in mentality, and just the belief in you as a doctor, everyone as a team, the practice as a whole, and just the culture that We will give the best care. We will give the best result, and we will love you throughout. And that's what I think it is.
I think if I could sum that up into, I'm going to put it into a characteristic, and that is, so you mentioned the buy-in. I think with that buy-in comes the empathy and I say empathy, but just the dedication to the patient, because they're transforming their life, right? Like this is so big.
I say to them, I've never done any drugs, but this is a high that I can chase. I got goosebumps right now, Chayden. Just like to see some of these patients, the first time they see their smile. I have a lot of them have been through addiction. Some of them have been through domestic violence. Some of them have never taken care of their teeth and they're embarrassed of them. And to see the first time they see even just the temporaries, to see these tears that, oh my gosh, somebody can do something for me, and to hear them say at the 4 months when we get the finals in, to hear them say, I never thought someone could actually give me a smile back. I mean, man, you want to talk about, it is the most powerful feeling. I told Allie, she has these wonderful cosmetic cases, but most of her cosmetic cases, the patients have teeth, and they have a good smile. It's just making it a perfect smile. When I see these people that I could show you case after case, they're fully addicts and have lost most of their teeth, are broken down everywhere, and they see their teeth the first time, and I mean, I was all in. The first time, my first patient that I saw with that, I'm like, let's go. How can I get this feeling every day? This is, it is a rush. It's just, and the team feels it. Now, what we do, I want all the team, not just my 3 team members now, not just them to see it. So we bring the whole team in, our entire team. I got 24, 25 great young women, young men, and we all come in and celebrate them when they see their final smile, because this is a change for their life, and they're the rock stars for the day. Like these patients, that most of them are scared to get out of the car to come into the dental office, Shaden, and that's a huge step just to get them to do that. Now they go through all this surgery, so we bring everyone in, and I think you hit it perfect, is the empathy for these patients and just the love and the care that we're going to give them, and the belief that no one can do better. It's just an amazing, it is amazing to see it. And that is what when I get to talk to, like, my younger brother, his goal is to get into this full arch side of it. And when I get to talk to him about this, I'm always like, Ty, you have the skill set. I know we can get you there. So let's just continue to build, and we'll get you there. And you just wait. The first time it's going to be life-changing, not for them, just for them, but for you and your team. It is amazing.
I mean, amazing. I'll say it again. That's amazing. That's transformational dentistry, right? There's nothing like it. Our team, we're not in the practice, but every Friday we have a big team huddle and we celebrate. We celebrate with our offices. We celebrate how many lives we were able to transform over the previous week, because we do it every single Friday, right? And so there is nothing like giving somebody the gift of a new smile. It's life-changing. Literally, it's life-changing.
You see, Jaden, like these I have some young men and some older men, like these, you see them, they look gruff and mean, and you change their smile, and they're crying. These big, massive men, you can't help but feel that. It's not just these young women, but these men that would never let anyone know that they were hurt by what their teeth looked like, or that they're scared of the dentist. And then you see the relief, and just that they can believe that they can have a smile back. A guy told me, he's like, I actually think I can get a girlfriend now. He said, I'm 37 years old. I've never had a girlfriend. I think I can get a girlfriend now. I'm like, go do it. Here's a gift card. Take her out to dinner. Go find her.
That's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about.
It is. It's amazing. But again, these things can't happen without people like you, people that believe in us as dentists. And that's what I think is so important. Something that I've come to believe, I've heard it, but I never really believed it until I saw it, how it works, is you're the product of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most, whether it's in life or in your profession. And I've got that chance to surround myself with 5, 10 these very important people. And I have seen my professional life just explode because of it. It used to be just Allie and I kind of spending our time, with my dad, with her dad, but not a lot of outside mentors or outside friendships. You have DIM, you have 3D, and all of a sudden you have these people in your corner that'll make you great. You just got to stay around them. And so I do believe that that's another step for us as dentists, whether it be in your local community or a national community, some community of people that I always say, and T-Bone has taught me this. He's like, it's not bad to feel like you may be the dumbest person in the room, because that means you're going to grow all that because you've put these people around you. And so it's been really good. But people like you, like Summer, Kevin, T-Bone, Sully, these are the people that you want around to build you and to make you better.
Well, I appreciate those kind words. What's the next step? You're doing very well. What's your next step as a business owner and your growth as a father, as a husband? What's your next step?
I think that we talk about it, just how great of a life we live right now. We live a great life. I have 13, 11, and soon to be 9-year-old, and they're busy with athletics, and I want to be there. My dad worked his butt off, but he never missed an athletic event. And I always want to make sure that they see that from me, is work his tail off, but by golly, he never missed anything. So that's something that I'm going to continue to do. I think Allie and I, as you've heard, I think that she is the greatest dentist person. I love her dearly. We will just continue to get better as practice owners, as dentists. When you have your best friend and you can go to CEs with them, man, that's the best. In terms of full arch, my goal for full arch is, honestly, what has happened, and people will be like, you're crazy. I have been doing so much full arch. It's the back end that has become so hard. The follow-ups, the conversions, now going to all the milling our own. So what our goal is as a practice now, our young lady Emma is basically our lab tech. She is so phenomenal. Like, her skills as a lab tech are so phenomenal, but she's got to replace herself now. She's going to go to only doing my cases and Allie's really big cosmetic cases. And so we've got to have her replace herself then with someone that can do the lower printing, all those things that we do. We do everything 3D print now. It's amazing what you can do. So she's got to replace herself, so we continue to vertically integrate everything. My goal is, we already had our meeting for 2025 goals, and we're going to drop down. Our goal is to set it for 72 arches a year. Now, if you throw in what we're doing, our goal this year was 108. Well, where are those 36 going? Well, there's 36 that you're going to. So from there, we've got to either replace ourselves on the full arch side with, say, Dr. DJ, our associate that's been around forever. But if we do that with him, then we've got to replace him with all of his. He's going to do over 100 singles this year. So we've got to replace all of his singles. So we have Dr. Alex is our other associate. She's expressed some interest in doing some of those singles, onesie, twosies. But then you throw a wrench in the plans because, now she's going to have children. So she's pregnant. And so it's like, well, now what do we do? So we're looking at, are we going to hire another associate, Jaden? Should we look at bringing a periodontist, an oral surgeon, someone like that to do these cases? We've got to add someone, though. I just can't do the amount and you all have helped me. I think I'm going to do the 4 times the 2 comma club now. I think I'm coming close to that. And you all have helped me there, but I am so busy with the follow-ups. We've got to have more people doing it, so we're able to keep up with. My team came to me when we went through our goal setting, and they're like, we are so. What are we going to do if we keep doing this? I'm like, well, let's talk. I have some goals here. Let's go through them, and they're excited to kind of optimize, kind of slow down to get to those 6 arches a month or so, but slow down the process, be even better with our milling, make them even more beautiful for the patient, spend more time with those patients, and that's kind of where we're at. I'm doing more teaching too. I teach single implants, and I mentor now the full arch side of it with 3D. I think down the road, what I've always said is I've had people that have given back to me and made me a better dentist than I ever thought I could be. I want to do the same. I want to spend more time teaching and give that to, if there's a dentist out there that wants to do this, loves surgery, I would love for them to reach out and say, here's what we've done, here's how I can help you, and get them there so they can get these feelings that I have. And Allie and I were just talking last night about our 13-year-old daughter asked us, she said, when are you and mommy going to retire? And I kind of giggled, and I'm like, I've never really thought about that just yet. So we were talking as we're sitting out on the porch last night, and I said, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do when that time comes? And she's starting to teach more. And she said, don't you think that we would be good to go out together and teach? And, both of us have always wanted to kind of give back to our community. And don't you want to do that? So our goals then are to teach more. We do a free dentistry day at the office. So we want to do a couple of those days and give back to our little community. So as we work through, I'll be 41 in 2 weeks or so, December 11th. And I plan to work a long time. In that time, I want to slow down to speed up, meaning I want to slow down to speed up others' careers too, to give them a chance to do what I get to do and be able to continue to give back smiles that people never thought they could have, and just be the best husband, dad, dentist, Christian that I can be.
I appreciate you you letting us be part of your journey and helping you along the way. You've had a lot of people that have kind of assisted you and helped you get to the point where you're at now. And you're sitting in such a good spot. Dr. Frounfelter, I really appreciate you jumping on with me and sharing just your wisdom and your journey and really opening up about some of the struggles that you face, but also with those struggles came an opportunity for you to overcome them and to accomplish a lot. And you really you're living what so many dentists want to live. You, for the most part, you're doing well in your practice, you're doing well in your marriage, and you're doing well as a father. What else could you ask for? I appreciate you jumping on. And again, to wrap up the episode, it's been awesome talking to you. And for everybody listening, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and like it, subscribe, share. If you found this interesting, have other questions, go ahead and shoot us a comment. More than happy to jump in there and respond. And if you have any questions for Dr. Frounfelter that you want to ask him directly, maybe about some of the training that he's done or challenges that he's faced, I'm sure we could get you connected. So again, I appreciate it. And until next time.